Hey guys, how you doing? In this video, I'm going to tell you about the next dates for anti-ulez protests, and I'm also going to tell you a bit about the ultimate aim of the whole ulez idea, which of course, as many people have alluded to, is pay per mile, and I found the evidence that proves that this is potentially a TfL objective.
Brown car guy. A brown car guy. Brown car guy.
So hey guys, were you at Trafalgar Square this Saturday? I was. What an amazing turnout. I would say at least 3 times the number of people that were at the first event. If you missed it, why did you miss it? Don't worry, there is another event happening. I'll tell you the dates at the end of this video. In the meantime, go and check out my video from this weekend in which I have interviews and I'll give you a general impression of what it was like to be there, which was fantastic. The great thing about this protest was that it was very peaceful, it was very friendly, it was very jovial, but it was certainly making a point. So it's a great thing to come to, and I'll give you the dates for the next one at the end of it. One of the things that happens to me from creating all of this content about ulez is that I get sent a lot of messages, and a large number of the messages I have to dismiss as hearsay or not factual or outright conspiracy. I try to bring you facts. I try to bring you information that I can source or that I can verify or I can prove that that is actually the case. I'm trying to be as objective as possible. I'm not entirely objective, let's be honest. I am the brown car guy, so I'm always going to be pro car and pro motorist. But I try to be fair about these things. As I've said in the past, I'm not actually myself personally anti-ulez. I think ulez where it exists at the moment, leave it there. It's had an impact. Not a huge impact, but it's had a beneficial impact. That's fine, but you cannot justify to me the cost and the efforts of expanding it to the whole of Greater London based on the fact that TfL's own report says that there's negligible benefits. What else do TfL say? Well, this thing keeps coming up over and over again that the whole purpose of ulez, the reason that, for example, the cameras were bought way back in April before even the public consultation happened for this latest expansion that's happening in August of this year, of 2023, but in April of last year, the cameras apparently were already ordered to cover that whole Greater London area. And you think, wow, this was a done deal way back. And they were very, very eager and enthusiastic to put these cameras in place. What's that about? Is it about making money? Initially, I was skeptical, because initially we were told that only 200,000 cars are affected. Since then, we have found, or the Lib Dem looked into the DVLA data and they looked at the flow of traffic, and they found that actually, including the cars that live in London, including the cars that come into London every day, then potentially it affects 1.5 million non-ulez compliant vehicles. So that's ka-ching, that could be a lot of money per day. But is it more than that? Is there a more, I hesitate to use the word sinister, but is there an ulterior motive behind this? Is there a more far-reaching consequence to what is going on at the moment that will impact all of us, regardless of what vehicle we own? And I believe there is, because I've been sent some documents and I was like, where are these documents from? The person who sent me didn't know, so I basically tried to find them and I found them. And you know where they're from? They're from the actual TfL website. And you know what they do? They actually confirm that TfL is looking into the potential of ultimately introducing a pay per mile scheme. And I can prove it to you. So I put the links actually to both documents, to the link to the website and to where the document is and the document itself in the description below. However, I'll show you on this video. So this is a screen grab from my phone. So as you can see, this is the TfL website. This is what you use to check train times and journey planner and all the rest of it. It's very hard to find where that document is. So use the search facility, and once you're in the search facility, type for publications, and you won't find that in the menu, so you have to search that way. And once you're here, then you can actually use the filter thing, and in filter select R, and the A to Z select R because I'll tell you why. When you do that and then you go, this is the results you get, but go on to page 2. When you go into page 2, you find road space. Click on road space, and road space will give you this page, and in here you'll find 2 documents. Hit the second one of those documents. So there's a PDF document from TfL, there's a 60-page document. Go on to page 6 of that document, and there in number 4 you will find pay per mile. So let's just go through what it says in this document, shall we? So that page itself. This is subtitled or headlined Potential Approaches to Adapting Emissions-Based Charging. In this paper, we have considered 4 approaches to emission-based charging: expanding the current scheme, modifying the current schemes, introducing new type of schemes, and making more fundamental ways to the way that we pay for road use. Note that. An example of each approach is outlined below to show the potential benefits and impacts of each type of intervention. The early work could form the basis of future schemes, development, and approaches that could be adapted or refined. So any new scheme would have to be effective, simple for customers to use, and fair and proportionate to its aim. Not sure about that last bit. The 4 potential approaches considered would include, so number 1, extending the ultra-low emission, the ULEZ zone to tackle more of the dirtiest vehicles. This is extending it from the current zone beyond the North and South Circular to cover the whole of Greater London using the current charge level and emission standards. So this is now. This is what they're proposing to do now. This is what's happening in August. So that number 1 is happening. That's happening, or we're obviously protesting it. We're hoping it won't happen, but as things stand, that is what's happening in August of this year. So what's number 2 about? Number 2, modifying ULEZ to make it even more impactful in reducing emissions, extending the current zone beyond the North-South Circular, that's the same as point 1, to the whole of Greater London, so that's a little bit confusing, but introducing a new, tighter emission standard, charged at a low level to further reduce emissions from the road transport and accelerate the shift to EVs. Now, what does that mean? You know, I've been racking my brains trying to figure out what exactly does that mean. And you know, there's been a lot of discussion about ULEZ compliant cars and the fact that they want us to move to that now ahead of the changes that are coming in August. A ULEZ compliant car is basically Euro 4 for petrol, which is basically all of the cars from 2005 and many cars also from 2001 petrol. For diesel cars, it's Euro emission standard 6, which is pretty much diesel cars from 2015 onwards. If you have one before then, it's likely not going to be ULEZ compliant. So you go, okay, well, I'll spend the money, I'll trade in, I'll buy a new car. And also I put a video up recently, which again I'll put the link below, where you can see what sort of cars you could get that are ULEZ compliant as of now. But what about in future? Is this actually about moving the goalposts? Now Euro 7 is coming in 2024, 2025. Now Euro 7 is going to be an even more stringent emission standard. So could it be that actually what number 2 is saying is that they will in fact introduce charging for all cars, including those Euro 4 petrol and Euro 6 diesel cars, ahead of or when Euro 7 arrives? So that's one thing to consider. What about number 3? What does that say? A low levels emission charge. A low level charge daily across all of Greater London for all but the cleanest vehicles. So the zero emission capable or zero emission vehicles. This could work as a nudge to behavior change in a similar way to the 10p charge for plastic bags. Just on that point, I don't know about you, but yes, I do try and grab bags when I go to the shops, but very often I'll find that I don't have a bag and I just end up buying them. So I don't know if you're the same as me. I do try. But anyway, so going back to this point, what does that mean? So that basically means that every car will be charged. Every car that isn't either an EV or, from what I can understand from this, zero emission capable, which to me is plug-in hybrids, even more than hybrids, because plug-in hybrids will initially do 30-40 miles on electric only. And the hybrids, normal hybrids, they have much less of a range, so maybe like 10-15 miles, so it doesn't really work. So plug-in hybrids, potentially, and EVs, definitely, and everything else will be charged. And that includes your Euro 7. So forget about Euro 4, forget about Euro 6, but even Euro 7 will be charged. That is number 3. Now, there's no dates, there's no years against this. So I can't tell you when they're thinking of bringing this in. All I can tell you is that it's in their plans, or it appears to be. It is definitely in plans that they are considering. They have an official report, official document on their website. It's there in black and white. Let's look at number 4, next generation charging. I don't mean electric charging for EVs. What I mean is charging us money to drive. An integrated scheme which incorporates existing schemes and charges a single charge per mile. Now, incorporates existing schemes and charges. Now, I don't necessarily know if that means road tax. However, if you look at the fact that this is a locally applied charge, so i.e. London, or on other urban areas, but then that means, I don't think that means they're going to remove road tax, because that means they wouldn't be earning money on cars around the rest of the country. You couldn't make up for that just by charging in town. So I'm assuming incorporates existing schemes and charges means ULEZ and maybe congestion charging, but you'll still have to pay road tax from what I can understand. And then you'll have to pay a charge per mile. So this is pay per mile charging. And how would that be implemented? Well, hence the cameras, because the cameras are ANPR, automatic number plate recognition cameras. So as soon as you move your car, they will know where you're moving and they will be able to see how far you've moved. Now, this could not be delivered until later than other approaches because they've got to put the infrastructure in place. But any approaches taken forward in 2023, that's this year, could potentially transition to such a scheme in later years. That is very obviously saying that the cameras that we're going to put in 2023 is going to be part of the plan to introduce pay per mile in future years. So there you go. It's there. Be warned, people. Even if you're not protesting, even if you're not out there, even if you're sitting at home going, oh, this ULEZ thing doesn't apply to me. I have a ULEZ car, or I never go into urban environments and stuff. Well, just think about it, because this is the long-term picture. This is where we're going towards. And I'm telling you now, my fear is that if we don't put our foot down now, if we, like I said before, we don't draw the line here and say this far, no further, that's what's happening, pay per mile. And then, you know, you'll be thinking twice about going to the shops or anything after that. And forget about doing what I do, reviewing cars. Forget about going out and driving for fun. Forget about the therapeutic benefits of doing something like that. You just won't be able to afford to. It'll be cheaper to pay the therapist, won't it? So that's the bad news. The good news, well, it's not really good news, but the other news, of course, is the next protest. Yes, it's happening. There's going to be another one, and hopefully it's going to be even bigger than the last one. That is on Saturday, 18th of March, same place, Trafalgar Square, same time, from 12 p.m. So I will see you there, and do come and say hello, do give me a wave, and if possible, and if you have something to say, let's talk. I'll get you on camera and you can tell me how ULEZ impacts you and what your thoughts are about ULEZ. See you there.
Brown car guy.
Hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please hit the like button and share this video as well if you can. And while you're at it, check out these guys who also sponsor my content. I am deeply grateful to them because it helps me to buy new equipment, put fuel in the cars, and yes, buy a cup of coffee. You can do the same. Just go here or right here on YouTube. Just hit these three little dots down here and click on thanks. Make sure you're signed in first. My content is free, but this is how you can help me keep it that way. I may even send you a gift. Oh, by the way, watch this next.